How's practice been going so far?
Good. Yeah, you know, that was number 6, and we're definitely doing a lot of good things. And there's developmental guys that are stepping up and doing some things. There's freshmen, first-year guys. There's transfers that are, you know, some of the things you want to see happen are happening. I think some of our base execution, I'd like for it to look a little bit better right now. Just some, you know, some 100 level stuff that we need to be pretty sharp at. You know, we've got a couple new wrinkles we're doing, which I understand that, but all in all, I think it's been highly competitive, and you know, we definitely know more. There's more guys that we know a lot about, and what they're capable of, and what to expect.
How's Kyron looked in that QB1 spot? Is he a confident guy, a vocal guy? How does he appear this spring?
Yeah, he's very confident. He's always eager to learn. You know, he's constantly going to the coaches with questions. You pat him on the back, and he says, "Thanks, Coach, but I should have done this a little bit better. I should have done that on that play." You know, so he's pretty hard in his evaluation of himself, but he's done well. You know, he's a quiet leader, but he's definitely leading.
What's the next step for him in your eyes in terms of his development going into the season?
Yeah, I think we've talked about it a little bit, you know, just ball placement and tighter coverage. And the defense has done a good job the last 3 practices providing some good coverage. He threw one in red zone today, Kyron did. I mean, it had to be spot on where it needed to be to St. Germain. Beautiful throw for a touchdown in tight coverage. So we just got to keep putting him in those situations.
In terms of the brotherhood that you've been able to cultivate, what have you seen them kind of been playing out on the field that come together?
Yeah, these guys are close. You know, again, you know, there's a lot of reasons that we had the retention we did, but the brotherhood is strong. You know, these guys are able to compete out here like crazy, get after each other, coaches and players, to be honest. But they hit that locker room, those meeting rooms, the training table, and they're tight. You know, they support each other. You know, what's been awesome, I'm going to tell you, we had Wyatt Teller out here today. You know, wants to come back, wants to be around. Eric Gallo, you know, David Clowney, Cam Phillips. We've had a lot of, Jake Grove was here last week. I mean, the brotherhood, the Virginia Tech brotherhood is strong. And, you know, so having Wyatt and those guys here has been awesome.
I know Brumfield checked a lot of boxes when you were looking at the recruiting process. When you've seen him on the field now, what kind of impressions do you have when you see him out there?
Yeah, I'm impressed. He's what I thought he would be. He's still picking up the scheme. You know, to feel confident enough to really command the defense, you got to be comfortable with it. So he's still learning and growing there.
He's not the tallest guy. Do you feel like he would have drawn more interest in recruiting if he was maybe a little bit bigger? You look at some of his numbers of what he'd done at different levels previously.
I think for some people, some programs, it's going to matter more than others. You know, and it's not. You know, he's put together really well. So his lack of length right there doesn't concern me. He's got other qualities that I think make up for it.
We talked to Fontel last week about his new title, and it looks like he got a good, healthy pay bump as well. What went into that process? What were those discussions like? And what is sort of defined in that role? Because we asked him last week, he still didn't quite know exactly.
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, obviously we're, you know, I'm very appreciative and excited that Fontel's with us. He's done a great job on the recruiting front. He's done a great job developing and building his room. He represents us very well wherever he is, wherever he goes. You know, and he's been sought after. He's been courted. You know, both these years, people recognize the quality job he's doing. So that's the kind of coaches you want to have. We've had 3 or 4 guys turn down good opportunities this offseason. Fontel being one of them. You know, so it's you know, it's a credit to administration, to Whit Babcock, and you know, we're doing what we need to be competitive, and we have the type of culture in our program. These guys want to be here. You know, they want to be here and believe in what we're doing.
When you look at guys that say to you, "I'd like to be head coach someday," I mean, you were in that position previously.
Yeah.
How do you try to help those guys along and developing those skills? I'm sure the title helps, but the skill set to go along with it would probably help too.
Yeah, to be honest, it's an opportunity to grow in some other areas, right? It's kind of a secondary seat in some conversations, some situations, some player meetings, some staff meetings. You know, there's a greater level of involvement and exposure that I really benefited from. You know, I was in that chair, that second chair with Ricky Bussell at Louisiana Lafayette, with Jeff Monken at Georgia Southern, and with Coach Franklin at Vanderbilt and Penn State. And, you know, the opportunity to be involved in more of those head coach conversations is an opportunity for growth. That's what Fontel wanted. And, you know, if it's important to him, it was important to me.
Are there any freshmen that you'd be willing to name that have particularly impressed you for one reason or another so far?
I think Quentin Reddish has really stood out defensively. Game comes to him pretty easy. He's communicating at a high level that I really haven't seen from a freshman before. And then obviously his length and his ability to move and run and do things. I think Chance Wiggins is doing a nice job. I think Tyler Mason, he had a minor injury the other day that has him kind of limited. But before that, I was impressed with what Tyler was doing. So some good things out of those guys.
With the expectations heading into this season as high as they are, as high as they have been the past couple of years, do you feel like there's an extra pep in the step or extra talk in the locker room in terms of that confidence building, not only in Chiron, but just everyone?
I think they're excited. I think they believe we can be a pretty good football team. But I hope, and we're directing them to just concentrate on right now spring ball and attacking our weaknesses and getting better. You know, that's the thing we can do right now to help us be the team that we could be in the fall.
What were the conversations like with Lamar and Gunner about moving over to the offensive line, and what have you seen out of them here in the spring?
Yeah, I think we gave both those guys, and again, it was conversations ongoing with those two about weaknesses and strengths, and wanted to give them both a really good opportunity at defensive tackle because there were traits for both of them that aligned there. But in the end, when we signed those guys, we knew both of them, you know, it was a kind of a 50-50. Do they end up on the offensive line? And, you know, when you move guys over and they stand out more quickly and more consistently, you know, you feel like you did the right thing. So, you know, there's a learning curve for both of them right now, but, you know, it's going to give them their best chance.
When you have as much retention as you had on this roster, have you noticed an increase either in like the maturity level or the leadership level of some of the returning veterans?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a mature group. Like I said, I think, you know, not just athletically and production-wise, but, you know, handling adversity, handling situations that come up. They just, you know, they're better equipped to do that. You know, they're an older group that's been through some things.
Saw Cam Phillips out there helping out. Is he going to be part of the staff doing stuff?
Yeah, we're in the process of onboarding Cam. Still got a couple of hurdles to clear, but he wants to be part of the program more than just a former player. And we've got some opportunities that we're looking at. So he's kind of being a fly on the wall right now. And if we can get this transition finished, then he'll be part of the staff in some way.
Is that something that comes about from him just kind of being around, and you're like, something emerges from that, or how's
again? I think you've heard me say we love for the Letterman to come back, and you know, whether they're playing in the NFL or not, and you want to get to know these guys, and obviously former players, handful of them are going to want to coach when they're done playing, and you know, he's got a desire to do that. So, you know, he came up before, and you know, we really enjoyed him and invited him to stick around and spend some time with us, and started talking about opportunities, and you know, so that's kind of how it happens.
Nike Johnson, that Achilles injury not healing, it's hurt, you know, no longer on the roster, but you're looking for him some on with the staff. How are you planning on working with him?
Yeah, potentially a situation like Jesse Hansen, where he could have a role as a student, you know, assistant, and help us in some areas. He brings great energy. I got a lot of respect for Nike. He's had a handful of injuries that have really limited him here. But, you know, he loves this place, he loves his teammates, and wants to help however he can.
I think you mentioned signing day, like the secondary room was at a number that you really liked. How much does that hurt the room now, numbers-wise, or do you feel comfortable with the group that you have?
Yeah, I like what we have out there right now. You know, we had a conversation, a personnel meeting yesterday, and one of the things we talked about was Braylon Johnson and his ability, you know, to play both corner and safety. And he got a bunch of snaps at safety today, to his credit. We've just got a lot of guys. We've talked about Thomas Williams and his ability to move over and play running back. We've talked about Dante and his ability to be a safety. There's just a lot of skilled kids that could, you know, to me, Takai Heath could come over and be a nickel, you know, and a corner for us. So we've got guys that have, you know, just potential on either side of football, skill set that aligns. And to me, that's a good problem to have.